Welcome, everyone.
Welcome to Elevation.
Welcome to the Elevation Call. It's so weird because, now that we're doing every other week, it seems like months in between almost. It just is. But that's okay, because some of you are really taking advantage of the Sunday night time for yourself and building your team and really moving into action for yourself. And we're really proud of that. And really, that's one of the reasons why we've taken this every other week approach. So again, we want to welcome all of you to the Elevation Call. And for those of you who are brand new or fairly new, just to remind you, the whole purpose of this call has been for our team, Team Unlimited, for Lisa and myself and those that we've sponsored and the people who've sponsored those people, really helping you to elevate your own personal business, your approach to business, maybe your mindset, your goals and so forth. So it's all about elevating. And as long as it's like, pointed upward, that's good. Speed matters, but direction is even more important, and that's upward. So that's what the Elevation Call is about. And then every week we recognize the people on our team who are recognized by Zalise in two categories that have to do with business growth or business action. And so the top 25 on enrollments is the first thing that we recognize. So the leaderboard right now, and the top 25 leaderboard on our team right now is Debbie Ray and Debbie Ray Smith. And so out of it's Nashville area. Nolensville. I always forget Nolensville. If I can just attach that to Nolan Richardson, that'd be okay. But anyway. So yeah, Debbie, congratulations. And then over on the personal volume side are the Todds. It's always Jenny Todd, whose name is recognized, but it's Steve and Jenny Todd, of course, who are at number 5.
Lady boss.
That's right. So anyway, hey, it's not too late this month to take care of a number of things. So I want to, let me see. Do you want me to do that next?
We're going to come back to that.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to talk about March Madness and just kind of what's going on.
Not Zalise
not with the tournament, but just with Zalise March Madness. But I wanted to start by kind of setting up some amazing stories that I want to share with you. But many of you guys know our story. And in fact, I was grateful to Christina Durham because she found the Facebook Live that I did with Hal begrudgingly in December, I believe it was, of 2020.
Found with Hal begrudging.
Hal was begrudging. He was
Zoom
barely participating
in the live call.
In the live Zoom that we did. It was the live Facebook that we did. And Christina found it and she reposted it. From 2 years ago.
And I was begrudging it.
You were not a willing participant in that, but you did finally, I did coerce him into kind of sharing his story. And I thought he did a good job. But that story is why I had a burning desire 4.5 years ago to find other people who would also benefit from this product, because I saw such amazing results with my son, Nate. And, having been in this industry of direct selling for 13 years prior to Zalise, I knew that the way to create the biggest impact was to facilitate multiple points of distribution. And I wanted to talk about that tonight. So we've gone on to create these points of distribution, and I wanted to define that. What that really means is that I have personally sponsored over 100 people in Zalise. And the count is not as important as what that does. It is actually a consumable point of distribution. We don't know if this person's just going to use it, or if they're going to share it, or if they're going to build an army. And so with the stories that we're going to talk about, we're going to share several really, really powerful stories. And in fact, I've got Lisa Hall. Many of you guys know Lisa. She's amazing. She's a physician. She's a world globetrotter. She's all over the place. And she's been very, very effective at sharing the word about CBD. And I asked her, just because of the personal story aspect of what we're sharing tonight, I wanted her to share her story. And then we're going to ask her a few questions. So Lisa, can you join us and unmute?
Yeah, I thought I wasn't going to get in there for a minute. It wouldn't let me in.
Well, we have such a huge amount of people that want on this call. I realize it's no, I'm just
kidding. Yeah, it's very competitive there. Very competitive.
Yeah, exactly. But Lisa, you've been amazing at helping us in so many ways. But I just wanted you just to, quickly kind of recap your personal story first. And then I want to ask you a few questions from there.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, I think most everybody knows me here. I'm an emergency room doctor for a few years, a nurse before that. And in 2012, I ended up with cancer and had a really long, hard fight with pancreatic cancer. And then by 16, I had had damage to my bone marrow from the treatment I did to get rid of the cancer. And I found a journal article out of Germany when I was researching the world, trying to find an answer for my problem. And in the journal article, they had tested 60 patients. And basically, the results of it was that they seen some regeneration, which people don't always like that word, but that's the word from the journal article, regeneration of bone marrow. And at the time, I was taking care of my mother who had Alzheimer's, and there was really no one else to take care of her. And I just kept looking for a solution so I could be here to take care of her while she needed me. And so then when I started researching CBD, I researched 100 companies because having had cancer several times, I was very particular what I put in my body. And so I came up with this name of this company, and I called it Xylus for the longest time, like everybody else does. And when I seen the name, and I just kept thinking the name sounded familiar to me, and then I realized I thought that I had seen it on Lisa's Facebook page, and Lisa and I knew each other from a previous life and had worked together in health and wellness in the past. And so I called her and said, I'm not interested in doing the business at all. I just am here to get the product for myself to see if it'll work for me. And so basically, prior to taking CBD in July of 2018, I was having transfusions every single week for over 3 years. And in the past 2 years, I've only had one transfusion. And that was when I had COVID in January of 2020. And that was because the COVID got my platelets. Now, I don't tell people that I have normal numbers. Like, I don't walk around with everybody else, with the same numbers that they do. I don't have, miraculous cure per se, but it allows me to live and not have to live on transfusions, which after a period of time you can't continue to have, because there's so many, if you're trying to get them from all these different foreign people, basically, your body's saying those are foreign and it starts reacting against them. And so I'm very, very, I feel very, very lucky to have found that. And that's kind of my personal story.
Well, and Lisa, you were very clear with me that you were not interested in the business.
I wasn't.
And I knew that you were, very successful in our previous business that we did kind of sideline from each other. But so you didn't just jump in and start, creating points of distribution. You came in trying to recover from cancer, from the trauma of your therapies. And how long was it before you decided that you wanted to actually start sharing this?
Well, I tell people it's the funniest thing because I really never thought I would do anything like this again, but I own real estate. I own apartment complexes. And everybody remembers the spring of 2020 when the government started telling people they didn't have to pay their rent. But the thing is, the government never told the ones of us that owned the apartments how we were supposed to survive without that rent. So things started getting pretty desperate pretty quick because, you still had to pay your property tax and you still had to pay all the electric bills and utility bills and insurance and your employees and everything else, but they didn't have to pay the rent. And so I started considering going back to doing something. And of course, there's nothing else that I could do because I believe so much in CBD and what it done for me. And it's not that I never shared it with people. I did share it with other people just, when I'd run into somebody that could benefit from it, but it was that I wasn't considering a business. And so I guess it was the summer of 2020, but I lurked for a long time. I was on all the calls, but I never said anything.
I remember
it was
that.
a long time getting started. Lisa probably was pretty frustrated with me.
No, not frustrated.
Well, we were just glad that you were doing better, and we just considered you one of our, good customers who this product had really helped, and we loved hearing your story about the product result. But things shifted for you significantly in the last year and a half or two. So.
And here's part of the takeaway, guys, is go find people better than you, because Lisa is such an amazing educator. It just, it's just what she does and who she is. And even when, we've done 3-way phone calls, and when she made that decision that she wanted to really create multiple points of distribution, we don't know exactly how quickly that expands. A lot of it depends on how how many people that we talk to on a daily or regular basis, but we've learned a lot from Lisa about just the customers and the individuals that she's been able to share this with and some of the results that they have achieved. And Lisa, I was very touched when you told me about some of the people that we have done 3-ways with, and you know, whether it's autism or some other things that you know, that they have been afflicted with. Could you just kind of give us just a little summary of some of the good results that you're seeing with our products?
Yeah, one of the things that Lisa and I had talked about this week, and I feel very strongly about, is I think that a lot of times people, they fall into this category of listening to Western medicine, and they never really look outside the box when Western medicine doesn't have any type of results for them. And right after I started the product in 2018, I had a very close friend who had a little boy that was autistic, and autistic to the point of he was 6 years old and he was in a diaper and he didn't walk and he didn't talk. And she had been all over the place with him. She's a nurse and she had done a lot of research and everything. And so when I started getting my regular shipments, you guys know how generous, you know, Lisa is, and there's always extra little products stuck in here and there, even before we had this program that we have now. And of course, I always ordered quite a lot because I travel, so I never knew when I was going to be near a mailbox again. And so I suggested to her, I said, you know, there's no concern at all with starting him on some CBD, because I said the government, the FDA, has already done the research for kids, right? Because CBD has been a drug that's been around for a long time, and it's used specifically with the FDA, and as far as, you know, use, it's used mainly for seizures, but there's a lot of in Western medicine and all kinds of medicine, a lot of, you know, different things that people use products for, even if they're made for one thing. It doesn't mean that you can only give it for that one thing. But they had done the research in kids, so that was reassuring. And I said, you know, let's just give it a try and see what happens. And I was actually just talking on the phone with this young man the other day, and I literally said just talking, because he now speaks. I mean, it's been this is it'll be 4 years, I think, this August. And he speaks, he goes to a special school. But he walks, he talks, he now does the alphabet for me every time I talk to him.
Great.
He sings to me. He calls me Aunt Lisa, and he likes to, you know, he just likes I like airplanes and stuff, and we talk about airplanes. That's all we ever talk about. But, you know, to remember that just 4 years ago, he was, you know, on the floor, in a diaper, basically looking forward to a life of the equivalent of being a baby his entire life. And then you look at his parents, and, you know, when he's 30 years old, how are they going to care for him, right? And everything. And then you look at the difference this made. And she, you know, she says it all the time. She says, no physician that, you know, they took him all over, and no physician ever made any indication that they should look anywhere else but, you know, just mainstream medicine. And they didn't have any answers for him. And so I guess that's my big thing. And since then I've had lots of interaction with parents with kids with autism, kids with ADHD. We have a new one that I'm really excited about. He's 13 years old, and his grandmother is raising him because his mother died in a car accident, and she has 4 teenage children that she's raising for her daughter. And she called me about this young man, and this is what she told me. She said, he's 13 years old, and one of 2 things is going to happen. He's either going to get killed or he's going to end up in jail. And she said, I've had him to every psychiatrist within 300 miles of where I live, and nobody can help him. They had him on 6 medications, and he was bullied all the time at school and picked on, and he retaliated. And, you know, and she said, we got to do something. And he started in November, I think. And it's been fabulous. And in December, I got to talk with him a little bit, and then again in January. And you know what he told me? He said, Lisa, I never wanted to be that way. It was my brain. I couldn't control my brain. And he said, I never wanted to be a bad person. I never wanted to cause problems for grandma. I just couldn't help myself. And he was in I don't know exactly what they call it. I call it juvie. I don't know what the modern term is, but, you know, he was in a special school for kids that are in trouble all the time, right? And he's back in regular school now, and excited about going to high school next year. And his teacher just praises him, and he's actually very, very, very intelligent. And they found out that his reading level is like at 15 or 16-year-old, and he's 13. But nobody knew that before because he couldn't contain himself enough. So, and he's on CBD and CBG, and his grandmother is actually a pharmaceutical tech, and she found me through social media. So, I have a lot of kids stories like this, and I just think that, there's so many times that we just don't know what we don't know. But once we find out that we have something and a gift like this that we can give to people, like I tell people all the time, and there's a lot of you guys on the team that take me up on it and stuff. If you need some help with this stuff, you just have to ask, and I'm happy to talk to people, because I never ever make a decision for anyone. I just offer them what I know and my stories, and then they make a decision on their own. But I always feel comfortable with kids, and I'm having tremendous results with Glow and stuff. I cannot believe every single day I get another story, and I have over 600 people on Glow now. And I would say that anywhere between 3/4 and 7/8 of them are reordering. I'm kind of at a loss with my numbers right now because I'm so busy. I can't find time to do the last 2 months, but I tell you something, this is making a difference in people's lives. And if you do it for no other reason than just to make a difference, it's worth it all. But I'm making a little money too.
Yes, you are. And Lisa, I know how busy you are, and it's just always a blessing that you can find time to share, just the great results. And, having over 600 points of distribution, really, it starts as consumption on Glow, and you've seen a great amount of reordering on that. I mean, we've learned a lot from the systems that you've built, you and your amazing daughter, Rebecca. We'll bring you guys back another time to talk about those systems, but I just thank you for the influence that you have on our team, and just the education that you've given us all, the medical sharing. And I'm excited just to be part of your business, Lisa. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for sharing Celeste with me. Saved my life.
Oh, girl, it goes both ways. You're a blessing. And so, not to try to get emotional on the call, guys, but just understand that Lisa was one of my personal points of distribution. I personally sponsored her, as a consumer, had no idea that she would ever want to do the business side of this.
She wasn't your best friend either, was she?
No, but she was
Do y'all
definitely.
live in the same town?
No, don't live in the same
How
town.
often do you see each other?
Well, we hadn't seen each other in years.
Okay, so it's a good thing that you reached out.
It's a good thing she reached out.
That's my point. It's like people think, oh, I've run out of people to talk to, and I'm like, no, you haven't. You have just begun. And this is a great example.
It's a great example. It's a business of attraction. And just next point, I want to bring Julia Baker on the line, just because Julia has been a friend of mine for many years. And she's also one of my personal points of distribution. And when I'm going to have Julia come on, and many of you guys have met Julia, and you've heard her story from Evansville, Indiana. But Julia, just real quickly, tell us, why is Elise for you?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, they tell me I'm in stage 4 cancer. I have even trouble saying that because I do not feel like that. Okay. And what happened 6 years ago, I got breast cancer and thought I'd beat it. And 2 years after that, it metastasized and showed up in my bones. And they said, once it's in your bones, it travels. There's no cure. It's just waiting for it to come back. And so that put me in stage 4, which I didn't really hear that part back then. Okay. And it wasn't until recently where I had another spot show up. But here's the thing. I have my last radiation for this one on Monday. Now, usually radiation the fatigue level, any of you, and Lisa, you probably know this because you had cancer, the fatigue level is off the charts. I mean, you want to go home and sleep, and it's, aim and bake kind of thing. So it's like if you've ever been out in the sun all day, how you're just drained. Well, multiply that times 3. Okay. But this time, because I've been on the Glow for now about 9 months consistently, I have not had to take a nap more than just a couple times. Now, I'm not saying I don't get that afternoon drag, but if I take the other half of my Glow pack, then I tend to get through it. So what Celeste did for me was gave me my life back. I mean, the statistics for bone cancer are okay. 50% of the people die within the first 2 years. This is what my oncologist told me, and she was trying to be positive about it. I'm like, what's positive about that? 80% die within 5 years. And I looked at her and I said, well, I guess I'm going to be the 20% then, right? And she just kind of, okay, whatever. But the point was that before I got on Zalise, I was just existing. I would take 3-hour naps. I didn't have any goals or vision or any gumption, as I call it, to do anything other than what was necessary. And I am the kind of person that I love life. I love people. I want to make a difference. I want to be you, Lisa, and have those stories of this. Oh gosh, I taught behavioral disability. So the last story you told really hit my heart, because there's so many people out there hurting, and the doctors are just giving them Zoloft and basically drugging them up to where they're just getting through the day. And what we have is something that makes them live, makes them have goals and desires and dreams. I will tell you something personal. My family wants me to stop working and to sit on the porch and let them take care of me. I was like, I am not ready for that. I don't care if this cancer showed back up. I don't feel like this is the end, and I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to get, they're not going to put me in a wheelchair. And it's been a battle. It has been a battle over the last month, because they are afraid. And that's what our pharmaceutical companies are betting on, is us to be afraid, to try to heal ourselves, to do anything out of the norm, because then they lose out. So Zalise has come along, and we have a product that helps our bodies to heal itself. We have a product that takes away the cancer brain that I always had and the fog. And you know what? I haven't lost my keys once since I've been on Glow. I'm like, what the heck? And I mean, my mom had planted this in my head that, Julia, you'll lose your head if it wasn't attached. I had ADD, but at my age, they didn't do anything. You had to figure it out. So the Zalise has calmed my brain down, and it's given me clarity. It's given me to where, heck yes, I'm going to get that Jeep. My kids think I'm all insane because I should just be sitting on the porch and enjoying the view that they're going to make for me. And I'm like, don't take away my passion. And everybody on here has a passion, I'm sure, for people, or they wouldn't be doing this.
Absolutely. So let me
break in. I won the battle today.
Let me break in, because you said to me, okay, this is what my family wants. I want to know how to create those points of distribution.
Yeah.
And so what was my homework assignment to you?
I had to redo my list, because when I first made my list and I had 100 people, everybody does. They just don't want to put people down because they're afraid, oh, I'll be bothering them, or, oh, what will they think of me? Well, forget that. Are you here to help people? Are you here to concentrate on yourself and, oh, I don't want to be a bother? Well, you know what? Then they'll let you know if you're a bother. Believe me, people will let you know in a subtle way or in an advert way, and then you'll know. But and I tell them, until you tell me to leave you alone, I'm going to keep sending you information. So with that said, Lisa, she said, you need to look for people who are, how can I say, business-minded and quality, not desperate for money because they don't have any money to join, okay? Not so sick that they're afraid of getting off their pharmaceuticals. They have to be open-minded and they have to be business-like. And so I redid my list, and you, Lisa, for not saying to get 100. She said, just put 20. So I put 20. Then I got on the phone. Hardest thing for me. Hardest. You talk about that, Lisa and I've been through stuff. And she said, it can't be any worse than what you did before. And I was like, you are so right. So that's how I look at it. Because, daggone it, I did that. I could do this.
And so Julia, you did the hard thing and you made some conversations and you got me on the phone with Connie.
Right.
And we set up a Zoom for this
Right.
afternoon. And then what happened?
She joined. Her husband was the one who really said, I think I need to be driving that Jeep around this town. He had some, you don't know, it shocked, I think, Lisa and I, when he said, I've seen a couple of those Jeeps over in where, Illinois, El Dorado, Illinois.
Decatur,
Oh,
Illinois.
there it is. And I was like, really? You know, you see them all over the place in Evansville, I think. But he said, yeah, he goes, I think I'd look pretty good driving one of those things down here. And I was like, you sure would.
But the thing that was significant is this gentleman, and this is not who we talked to, this is the husband of the woman who Julia introduced me to. He had been waiting 4 to 5 years to find out how CBD could help him. And so we were able to do a presentation. Julia got them on our Zoom.
That was one of your 20 on your list.
That was one of her 20.
And you set up a call with Lisa on a Zoom, and you two together presented an overview to them today. And they came in at what? Bronze?
Bronze.
So they made a decision to get a business kit because you two together helped them decide that was the best for them.
Right. Lisa did the technical end, which I'm all, as you can tell, I'm the emotional side. Okay. And she's the brains. I'm the, I won't say the whatever.
It's a team. It's a team. It's just, and so you guys take away is Julia did the hard work because she opened the conversation. She brought me on as a 3-way. We scheduled the Zoom. We did the Zoom together and they enrolled.
Right.
So what you did was created a point of consumer
Distribution.
and distribution, right? Because you know they're going to consume and you know they have a desire to also distribute because he's already talking about the Jeep.
Right.
So how many more do you have to go to meet your goal that Lisa gave you for this month?
I have 3 more.
That's right. 3 more for this month for you. That's your goal. That's what you've committed to. And Lisa's helping you do that.
Right.
So congratulations.
And we'll
It's a
talk
great
more
story.
about that. But
Right.
Julia, thank you for sharing. You're an inspiration to me. And everybody on this call has the same offer. I will do 3 ways with you and I will present for you on Zoom because it is life-changing. It was life-changing for the people who saw it today. So thank you, Julia. I want to share 2 more stories. I want to go to Shanelka in Abilene. And Shanelka, hopefully she's got a couple internet issues, but Shanelka has a very powerful story. But again, Shanelka is my personal point of distribution. I personally sponsored Shanelka as a referral. Shanelka, I know you shared your story, but just real briefly, why is Elise for you?
Well, it's in 2015, during the best time of my life. Everything was looking upward. Health was great, working out every day, twice a day, dream job, kid was great, husband's great. I was struck with some mysterious illness and it took about 1.5 years for them to figure out what's going on with me. And it was a big bundle of autoimmune stuff. So toward the end of 2016, that's what they said. And it was something I never heard of, what mixed connective tissue disease. And pretty much that's just a weird overlapping box of autoimmune conditions. So you get a little bit of everything with that. So since 2016, I've kind of learned how to deal with that. But in 2018, beginning of 2018, I got to a point where I could no longer really function fully and had to come out of the workforce at that point. My rheumatologist said, you can continue to work or die. And so that is what she said. And I didn't fully recognize at that point how severe it was, but all my bodily functions were just kind of breaking down to where I couldn't even have this conversation because my voice and my vocal cords were affected by the inflammation that was throughout my body. So in 2018, I exited the workforce and failed several treatments that they gave me, and kind of learned how to relive life. And at the end of 2021, right around the launch of Glow, I was connected to Lisa because I wanted some CBD cream for my aches and pains. And that was, again, right when Glow was coming out, and she gave me the nice lowdown on the research that had been done on Glow. And I am very much a research person. I was an associate professor of psychology is what I did in my former life. And so she really got down to the research that had been released on Glow, and that piqued my interest so much. And I was really grateful for that. And I was like, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to use it when it comes out. And I was incredibly grateful that I did, because probably within about 2 weeks of using Glow, I noticed the effects immediately within my body. Inflammation going away, those morning aches and pains gone. So about 2 months after that, I see my ophthalmologist. We're taking medications out. I just checked in with my rheumatologist last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. And one of the 2 shots that I've been using every week for the last 5 years, it's done. I no longer have to use it. So we've just seen immediate great progress, way less medications in my little pill sorter, AM and PM pill sorters. So I'm getting rid of a lot of the pharmaceuticals. And I'm preparing next week to start my second position, same company, second position since January. Glow has just really been, it's not just Glow, I'm using several different products from Zelise, but it's been a great line of products to kind of just give me my life back. Because I was sitting on the couch, binging Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, and just not really living. And I've got my energy back. I'm not exhausted every day. I go to work for 8 hours a day, sometimes 9, and come home and trying to build my business here. And I probably would not be able to do that without Zelise.
What's Russ think about all this?
There might be some mixed feelings, but he says he's very proud, but he doesn't get a lot of my time anymore because I'm always so busy. So,
Wow, Shanelka, you do such an amazing job sharing your story, and you're a different person than the first time I talked to you.
We haven't even known her 6 months.
No, but
I mean, right at.
I think about
5
where
months,
you
6
were
months.
and just, being a lot of discomfort and not being able to work. And now you're back in the workforce and you're paying it forward by learning. Now, you guys, Shanelka has a PhD. I mean, she's brilliant and well-educated, but she's not done this before. And so she's humbling herself, just like all of us are, to learning a new skill, learning how to communicate. And she's done at least one major event. She's starting to learn social media. And so now you're doing what Julia described, doing the hard work to create those points of distribution and find the Shanelkas out there that can benefit from
We
this.
do those one at a time. So congratulations.
So I'm really proud of
Thanks
you,
for
Shanelka.
sharing.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
thank you.
She does such a great job. And so the last person I want to bring on is somebody that you guys have not met yet. And I met Josie Mai through Martha Sandvin. And so Martha is our personal point of distribution. And she began to share this with her very, very good friend in Kansas City, Josie. So Josie, can you unmute and come to the line?
Hi. Yeah, I'm the baby of this new family. So This is my first elevation call even, and I am just blown away. So thank you for sharing your stories. You're encouraging me to share mine. So thank you. And Shanelka, girl, I'm with you. I've got the autoimmune stuff as well. I've only been on Glow and CB, was it G? See, I'm still learning the lingo. For only about 5 weeks, if even that, Lisa. I mean, I think if even that. And my friend Martha of 20 years told me about it, and she was so hesitant because she didn't want to lose me as a friend. And like, you know, like we were just talking about being scared to share, and he did it. And I just kind of shook my head and I went, Martha, if it's even going to make me feel better a little bit, bring it on, you know? And so I started it, and you guys, you know this, but day four, I walked across my living room one night after work, and something was different. I could tell the moment. I was walking straighter, like a human being, like upright. It was 5:30 at night, and I wasn't exhausted like Shanelka was talking about. I have lupus, and I've had it for about a decade, among other autoimmune issues like fibromyalgia, like Shanelka saying, they kind of come as a package deal. And I was teaching a couple assistant professor jobs, and then this year it's been 6th grade. I don't know why, don't ask me why. It was crazy. But so I'd come home at 3:30 or 4 o'clock and get in bed for about 2 hours, and then try to get the gumption up to make dinner. And because I'm a cook as well, I'm a cook and an artist. And both of those take a ton of energy, as well as teaching. And I just couldn't do it every day. I'd come home and just fall into bed. I couldn't talk. I couldn't finish my sentences. My brain fog was so bad that my boyfriend would try to engage me in a conversation. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So day 4 of Glow, I felt the difference. The next morning I go into school and I'm standing in my art room, you know, pulling things out of the shelves. And this friend of mine, Joy, which is such a great name, she poked her head in my doorway and she's like, Josie, you are glowing. I was like, how did you know? And she's like, what do you mean, how did I know? And I was like, that's what I'm taking. And she's like, what is that? And I just, you know, and we had been sharing our pain for the past 6 months, standing there for bus duty with the kids. Because when we saw each other at 3:15, we were bent over sideways, you know, like this, leaning over, you know, leaning against the wall. And we just noticed with each other, we're like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You know how it goes. And so when she saw me feeling better at 8 o'clock in the morning, like on a Thursday or something, she was just stunned. And I didn't even realize it until, you know, that night before. And so I told her about it. It's still very new for her. So I'm still working on her, but that just encouraged me because somebody else saw it in me. And, you know, we're so in our own heads with our own pain and our own issues that it took someone like Joy to recognize my health. And, you know, I'm not determined that this is going to fix me, completely fix the fatigue. I mean, my gosh, I hope so. I was on, and I still am on, the Cadillac of lupus drugs. If I had to pay for this thing, it'd be $6,000 a month, easy. But I don't, thank God. But I don't want to be on it anymore. It wasn't working well. And now Glow has just stepped in And I'm hoping that my immune system continues to heal, because that's what I feel like it's doing. It's healing. And as I share that story with people, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. People know I'm not a salesperson. People know that I don't get in their faces for any reason, but I'm doing that now. And so I think they're going to take me seriously. I think my dad's on it now. He's my first client, and and Lisa got to talk to him. But he's dealt with pain and vertigo, oh my God, depression, everything for years. And he's feeling fantastic as a 76-year-old for the first time in decades. So I'm on a good track, and I really appreciate you all. And I will be tuning in to these calls on a regular basis. So thank you.
Josie,
You picked a good night for your first one, I'll guarantee you.
You
This has
just-
been incredible. Yeah.
you did a
Wow.
great job, and everyone's just, clapping and giving you Zoom love because, you're an educator and a personal chef, and, network marketing was really not ever a thought in your head. And you've been open to this because what you're doing is you're sharing hope and health and life with other people. And so I just thank you for sharing that. And I hope you guys on the call, you all have your own stories. But the point in this, you guys, is that these are all personal points of distribution. And Josie being one of our most recent, because we're continuing the push. We're continuing the search, because remember, it starts with your first 2 points. And then you add another 2 points. And then you've got, thinking about your 4x4, because you're not going to actually make significant income until you are area ambassador in this organization.
So what I want to say is tonight's been awesome, hearing the testimonies of people, their personal health journey and what these incredible products have done. And we've given now over 40 minutes to hearing these stories, and 4 different ones. They're very powerful. But there are times when we need to step out of that for a moment and put a parenthesis on it and take it kind of like from a business standpoint for at least a minute. And, I get really kind of irritated at people that talk about all you want is people's money. Well, sit on a call like tonight and hear these stories, and then people their mindset would change immediately about that, because that's not what it's about. It's what you've heard tonight. But we do talk about money. We talk about money because I will tell you that had Lisa 4.5 years ago in Evansville, Indiana, not reached out to the people she knew, and Zalise paid her after she shared the story, in the sense of paying her because she created all these points of distribution back in Evansville, we wouldn't be able to be here tonight. This is not what we would be doing. We would be doing something else. I would have never shared with Martha Sandvin, and she would have never shared with her dear friend Josie, some literally 4.5 years after Lisa started in Evansville with that. But if we weren't being paid, if we weren't compensated, and that's the compensation plan that Stephen created, and he has a plan for that. And it's really very simple. And that is, share with those you care about, share it with those that you know, and then go out and meet more people and put them somehow into a position of contact or relationship for the future, and continue to share with them your stories, the opportunity to do what? Well, to help change their lives, obviously. I don't think there's anybody on this call that doesn't want to help people with their health. But people haven't made the transition into being very focused on, okay, I want to enroll 4 people this month. Why? Well, this particular month with Zalise, Stephen is offering during quote, Zalise's version of March Madness is double pay for every person we enroll in business kits, if we do enough volume to create business for ourselves. So, it'd be really kind of cool if Stephen said, I tell you what, in the month of March, for every person you enroll, I'm going to give you double bonus pay for everyone. If you just do one, I'm going to pay you for that. But what Stephen knows is, for you to really generate momentum and really begin to build your business, or to begin to reignite your business, it takes more than one. He knows that it takes 4. That's really the model from day one. 2 on your right, 2 on your left. And so with these business kits, he's double paying for those who hit 4 this month. He'll double pay the bonuses that we get paid on these enrollments at bronze, silver, and gold for this month. So maybe you joined this week, maybe you joined today, maybe you joined a month ago, or maybe you joined 3 years ago. This month, Stephen Thompson, the CEO and founder, has offered to us, going into this spring and summer, kind of the best times to build business with any multi-level affiliate type program. It's just because that's the seasons that it happens historically. He said, I want to help you jumpstart. I want to give you extra motivation for that. So, you know, that's what he's done. And we've got, here it is, the 20th of the month, and there's 31 days in the month. So there's another 11 days for people to strive to hit those marks, and we want to help you. So
Absolutely. So this is the biggest challenge is in your own head. As Josie said, you know, as Julie, all of us are the same way. We have those tapes, negative tapes playing in our heads. So I want you to kind of envision yourself with a machete. You're out there clearing the path. This is the hard work that we do to start those points of distribution. I mean, anyone on this call would say, you know, yeah, man, I mean, it makes tons of sense. I mean, we've been able to help a lot of people collectively together, but you don't know exactly who are the Josies and the Julias, who are the people out there that really would benefit from this. Everyone has a story, but we believe that we have a great way of communicating what we're doing, this project that we're doing together on Zoom, one-on-one, with a PowerPoint. And that's what Julie and I just did this evening to help bring somebody in at bronze. So my ask to you is to make that list. 20 people that are high quality people, and in your heart, you're not trying to recruit those people. All you're doing is you would like to describe the project that has captivated your heart, that has made such an impact in your life, in the hopes that maybe they can direct you to somebody who might benefit. And that's truly what we're asking people. So we've got 11 days left, and we've already got some first-time people on this call today as well.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Let me ask Deborah to introduce Doris to us tonight.
Yes, Doris is on the phone. She didn't have the Wi-Fi.
Oh, she's on the phone.
But she's on the phone, and she found me. I don't know why. She didn't even remember how. And she said, she was a previous nurse. She was in the military for 20 years. She does a lot of research. She's always looking for bigger and better. She is currently, I'll let her tell the story on her health part, but she's always looking for a better CBD. She knows a lot about it. She's done a lot of research over the years. She says, why haven't I found Zalise before? I don't understand. And she said, I don't even know how I got your name. She was watching Lisa and Hal YouTube Zooms. Why she didn't reach out to them, I don't know, but she found me.
That's what people do when they can't sleep at night.
Man,
right?
she was desperate if she was finding us on Zoom too.
But she talked to Lisa yesterday with a three-way, and she did join as silver. Her biggest passion is the Patriot program. So we're trying to get her more information on that, on how to get this product in the Patriots' hands. Whether it's through sponsorship or wholesale customer, whatever they want to do. But I'll let her tell the rest of the story, Lisa, but I am grateful that she found me, and I'm grateful that she has that passion to share with her Patriot friends.
Awesome. Well, Doris, can you hear us? Can you unmute and just say hi? Kind of tough when you're on the phone.
It's tough when you're on the phone.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it on the phone myself.
That's okay. We don't want to put her on the spot. She's brand new.
We'll still say welcome.
She knows that I was going to introduce her, so.
Okay,
cool.
well, we'll
glad
just
to have her on
say
the call.
collective.
Try *6. Try
*6.
*6.
Oh, listen to Mary. She's cracking the code out there. Nice job, Mary. Well, if Doris can figure out how to unmute, then we'll definitely welcome her in person. But I just want to go ahead and pause the recording so that we can take this time to answer questions. Anyone that wants to share a comment, hang on just one second.